And thanks again, everyone, for joining. My name's Mackenzie. I'm a senior AE here at SparkHire, but I'm also a previous recruiter of 8+ years. I'll be walking you through SparkHire's one-way video interview today, joined by Mark, one of our customer success managers. Our goal today is to show how SparkHire helps teams hire faster without losing that human experience and human connection.
Yeah, thanks, Mackenzie. And hey, everybody. So again, my name is Mark, and I've been a customer success manager here at SparkHire for the past 4 years. So over that time, I've worked closely with a wide range of customers, seeing very clear patterns in how teams kind of get value out of SparkHire. So throughout today's demo, my job is going to be showing you those real world examples and just stories about how teams are really getting that value from these tools, as well as what's really going to be driving those real results.
There's a lot of conversation in today's recruiting world around AI interviews and kind of speeding up the process. But I think what's important is we kind of look at how you don't lose that context about the candidate.
Yeah, and that reflects what we consistently hear a lot of times across a lot of our teams, both speed and quality. So everyone's looking for efficiency, but not really at the expense of losing the human element within their hiring process. So what customers often tell us is, or tell me is that, one-way interview or one-way video interviews definitely deliver same time savings as AI interviewers, but without sacrificing that personalization or the actual human element.
And this is really where SparkHire's AI really helps. Over here, you can see that as you are evaluating a one-way video interview, you can see that the playlist is broken up into 5 different clips. You can also see that there's an AI summary. This AI summary is going to get pulled directly from that transcript. I like to think of this as less time spent watching and a little bit more time deciding. I still review the video. I just know where to start and where to focus based on that AI summary.
Yeah, and Mackenzie, that's a really great call out. A lot of our customers tend to see the biggest impacts with this whenever they use it for, high volume, evergreen, or even those people facing roles. And what teams quickly realize is that the AI summary really helps them triage the candidates more effectively and understand whether a candidate's really answered the question accurately or not, or even if the candidate might have gone off topic. And as you can see here on the screen, it even notates within the summary that it calls out if they went off topic or not whenever they were responding to a specific question. And this is really going to allow your teams to prioritize where to spend time during their review and also evaluation process.
As I go into the SparkHire AI tab, I like to kind of take a look here and show you that here, again, you can see that AI summary, but you also see that there is the AI video review. A big call out here is that this AI video review isn't going to compare a candidate versus another candidate. It's simply looking at these 4 competencies and these 2 personal qualities based on what the SparkHire AI is looking for. And you can click into each one, take a little look, and then for each question, it'll also give them a ranking strong, moderate, or weak for an overall strong, moderate, or weak as well. I think that this is really just used as a second set of eyes, especially for competencies or traits like communication or motivation that might be harder to evaluate on a resume or even in traditional phone screen. It's just a great way to prioritize where you start when you start looking at your candidates.
Yeah, and I love that. And one customer story that comes to mind is one of our clients, Arrive AI. And what was happening is they were falling behind on interviewing or getting some scheduled interviews, and they were risking not meeting a critical deadline for making a hire, and they really needed to pick up the pace. What they shared with us is that they were able to do this by reviewing those one-way interviews. I believe they mentioned over the weekend, on a Sunday, watching some football from the comfort of their home, and what really happened with this is they used the SparkHire AI tool to actually quickly identify those strong candidates to be able to move forward with either a live or in-person interview right away. So that way, by Monday morning, they were ready to be back on schedule with their, deadlines, and everything was kind of moving back in a good flow again. And what they really realized is that the AI summary helped them narrow the candidate pool down really quickly, but the AI video review really gave them that extra context as well as reassurance that they needed to be able to make those confident decisions with moving those candidates forward.
And speed like this really makes a big difference both in your recruiting workflow as well as the candidate experience. And speaking of candidate experience, many of our most successful customers actually use a mix of platform videos to elevate the experience and get that candidate excited from the start. The first example of that is going to be our intro and outro videos. As you can see here, you can use your intro video as a great way to talk to your brand, you can introduce yourself, and the outro is going to be a great way to thank them for their time or even set expectations on what they can expect next in the process.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. Recently, I was working with a large college university, so it's really diverse with these platform videos where, they used it as a way to kind of set up next steps to avoid confusion and candidate drop off really early in their process by putting these videos in place. And often what we see is a lot of our most successful customers really use both intro and outro videos paired with the recorded video questions as well, which is another great way to really brand and enhance your overall candidate experience. And that's going to lead us into the next topic that we want to talk to you about today, is how you can actually ask those interview questions to your candidates during a one-way interview.
Yeah, so when you're setting up your one-way video interview questions, you can either do it via text, as you said, or via video. In our system, under suggested, there are actually over 100 pre-recorded videos with a live human with our suggested questions that you can use. But you can also do my personal favorite, record yourself or record someone on your team asking those questions and use those here.
Yeah, so like a unique way that we actually see customers such as Chick-fil-A use this is they actually use their current employees to record questions being asked to a candidate. So think of maybe like team leads or even shift managers kind of recording those questions. What this is going to do is really add a personal touch to the overall experience and put a real face on the screen for your candidates. It really helps them feel way more connected from the very start. So with this, it's a small operational change that you can make within your process, but it has a meaningful impact for your candidate experience. Candidates definitely feel like they're meeting team members rather than just talking to a blank computer screen whenever they're answering your interview questions. As a result of this, customers definitely see a more consistent and stronger engagement from their candidates, as well as a higher completion rate whenever we're talking one-way interviews. All of these videos paired together, whether it's going to be video questions or even if it's an intro or outro video, tend to work best whenever they feel really authentic rather than overproduced. So instead of having huge backgrounds, marketing teams, or productions or theatrics, something very simple in these types of situations go a long way with your candidates. Some of the most effective videos that I've actually seen from customers are simply recorded on a cell phone or even in the comfort of their home in a home office directly on their laptop computer.
And in that same idea of clarity and authenticity applies to how we really close out the interview as well. The way that you wrap it up with the candidate can leave them feeling informed, respected, and heard. A great way to do this is adding a final question within the question set that kind of leaves it open-ended and allows them to tell you a little bit about themselves. When I was a recruiter, two of the questions that I like to use for this situation were, is there anything about you that we haven't asked but should know? Or is there a skill or strength that you bring that didn't actually come up in today's interview? When I use these, it a lot of times brought out a context or an insight that we wouldn't have otherwise had.
Yeah, and that's a great point, Mackenzie. And recently I was working with an attorney general's office and they were struggling with having low interview completion rates. So what we did is reviewed their entire process. And by making some changes, we actually looked at some of their question sets they were asking. And what we done was we added some additional open-ended prompts like the ones you mentioned. And we definitely saw a more meaningful increase in completed interviews. And in follow-up conversations that they had with their candidates, the candidates often shared that those open-ended questions really gave them the space to be able to add additional context, or they really felt genuinely heard from their candidates because they were allowed to actually highlight additional information that was valuable that might not have been, excuse me, that might not have been otherwise uncovered within the interview because it could have been missed if they weren't asked those open-ended questions.
When using AI in one-way video interviews added with that personal content, it's really kind of the balance that I needed and wanted as a recruiter. And so with this, I'll kind of recap our Spark Hire one-way video interviews. You can use AI to help teams move faster and add meaningful checkpoints. You keep people at the center of your hiring decisions, and you can use personalized platform videos to create a connection and consistency throughout the entire candidate experience.